So up guys, I've taken a long on dollar CAD. I'm predicting price to come up to this buy side liquidity up here, but looking at it from a higher time frame point of view at the moment, it looks like we've rejected two previous weeks highs in a row, and honestly that now makes it look like the trade I've entered is not exactly the best trade. It's a Tuesday, that's hence why it's I'm expecting bullish move on Tuesday. We came up to these highs, right? We rejected with this very strong bearish engulfing candle on the 240. I would predict price will come and drop lower after seeing that candle. Essentially, probably at around, if we break this down, I don't believe it will retrace to that 50%, but it could retrace into the start of this inverse fair value gap, which is something I'll be watching. But at the same time, if we are bullish, right, and this is just going to be another order block that pushed price lower, and it's going to continue higher up to that buy side liquidity. But we've got CPI coming out tomorrow, so I'm not exactly sure it's going to be doing that, and I think I'll get out the trade if once it comes into that inverse fair value gap. So yeah, on the 4-hour time frame, what my prediction is that we came deep into this range. We came to the low of this second bullish fair value gap on the 60-minute time frame at 2 p.m. UK time, which is around New York session. And the way it came down was price closed below this New York open in a bullish trend, right? Bullish for the week. We tried to hold these levels multiple times. We tried to hold that first fair value gap, that 240 fair value gap multiple times, and we failed, putting this doji candle with low wick, and then which was followed by this bearish engulfing candle. And whenever I've seen a pattern like that, price, after it takes out the low of that engulfing candle, normally finds a bullish momentum in a bullish trend. If my order flow is correct, then this should be the low of the day and price should continue higher. However, looking at the 4-hour candle, I'm quite skeptical of price finding support all the way back up to these highs, especially with CPI coming out tomorrow. So I'm not really sure, and the way we've rejected all of these levels, I'm not exactly sure I want to be holding that trade for too long. I have I've moved my stops to break even. Like I said, we've got this inverse bearish fair value gap on the 240 right after this really strong bearish liquidity engulfing candle that took out liquidity above these swing highs and then just tanked. And ideally, I'm trading against that candle. So this is the deepest that I would anticipate price to come into this range, and it's found some support, and this is the area I expect price to find resistance if this plays bearish engulfing candle is going to play out, and that's the main reason I've put my stops at break even. Now, if this is a bullish engulfing candle, or even a bullish candle, and then we follow with more bullish candle, then I'll have more confidence with the trade. But right now, I'm not really that confident. And that's the reason I've moved it to break even, so I don't mind getting stopped out. Plus, I've only risked 0.3% off my account, mainly because of the fact I'm going against a very strong bearish candle, and yeah, it looks like it will hit break even, which is fine. So price is doing more of what I would expect it to do when it's in a bullish momentum, so maybe it is respecting that bullish order flow. And like I said, I was expecting a bullish engulfing, or at least a bullish candle, and then looks like so far, right, we still have 6 minutes left, anything can happen. I've been in this situation too many times. It looks like a bullish candle. Hopefully it is. If it is, then I expect the next candle to be bullish as well, and then we'll start seeing retracement, and then we'll continue higher up. But until this candle closes, the 2:30 candle UK time closes, which is just the opening of the 8:30 US time, there's nothing I can do, or there's nothing I can say. So I have to wait for this candle to close before making any decision. If it's a bearish candle in the next 5 minutes, then I don't expect price to continue higher up. If it's still a bullish candle, then yeah, I do expect, and I will take my targets off probably at the New York open. But I do think if it's a bullish candle, we can continue higher up. And look at that on the 1 hour. 1 hour, we've got half an hour left, man. It can be anything. It's irrelevant. 30 minutes, right? We've got this bullish engulfing pattern. I call it a bullish engulfing candle pattern because it's a 3 candle pattern stick for me, which is a loss of momentum doji candle followed by a bearish. This is a bullish engulfing pattern, so a bearish or a bullish doji candle pin bar followed by an aggressive close in bearish direction followed by a bullish engulfing candle. And this would be a good location to go long again at this bullish engulfing candle, or at least at the retracement of that candle. But yeah, we'll see how this plays out. And now I wished I risked a whole 1% on this trade, but it's fine. I've taken a couple of minor losses, around 0.3%, 0.25% loss this morning. So I didn't really want to be giving too much back again in the evening, and that's why I took a really small trade. If it works out in my favor, that's fine. If it doesn't, then that's fine as well. I'm at break even now anyway. I've taken 0.5% off at this New York Open, because why not? I made back the losses that I made this morning from this one trade by risking 0.3%. Stops at break even now, so essentially a break even day if it comes back and hits my break even, or at the moment what looks like waiting for that next 15-minute candle and the 1/4 to from 1/2 to 1/4 to 2. If that candle is a bullish candle and we leave a fair value gap, we leave a breaker right there, that would be another good entry to go long. But we'll have to wait and see how the next candle closes, not this one, the next one. Look how we closed above that New York Open, right? With this strong bullish candle, we didn't tap it, we didn't hold and find some resistance below it and continue lower. We closed with a statement above it, and now again got another 13 minutes. If this is a bullish candle, honestly, I'm just expecting price to just pull back and continue higher up after that. Yeah, so I'm taken in position off at this New York Open, moved my stops to break even way before then, and I will be aiming for potentially this buy side liquidity. I know it says 3R, but I only risk 0.3%, so probably around 1R in total. Now, if you're looking at this from a bearish perspective, so we've just taken out a shit ton of liquidity above this high, and we displaced, or you can lower with this bearish engulfing candle, which took out the highs of previous candle and all of these highs, and tanked with the and closed essentially 253, and the low is 251, just quite close to the low. This could just be a pullback into this order block for many people, and that order block, and we're looking at resistance right now, which price has come into, which also happens to be at the 50% level of this bearish fair value gap. And this is like a unicorn setup. We've got breakers here, followed by fair value gaps, and prices coming into that fair value gap at the moment and finding resistance right now, if you look at it. So yeah, this could easily be a bearish setup for many people, and you could see some kind of a consolidation or resistance. The next candle not being a bullish candle is kind of bumming me out. I would have liked to see that to be a bullish candle. It's not at the moment, and kind of annoying. But yeah, this is just me walking through my trade. This is live journaling my emotions and what I'm seeing, which is normally you don't see when you're hindsight journal, but when you're live trading, or when I live trade, I see every single move becomes so much more significant than when you're doing it in hindsight. When you're back testing, every little move doesn't really make you jump out that much, whereas you see this push down all the way down at the moment with that strong bearish, almost bearish close. Made me feel like maybe this is not going to turn into a bullish candle, and now by looking at it, it's pushing up again, and it could be a bullish candle. So you don't see this during hindsight trading, during back testing, unless you drop down to like 1 minute time frame, and then you see, okay, at this time, right, we came up, rejected that, put in this, breaker, unicorn came out, rejected that New York Open. Now look at it. If you're a 1 minute trader, you're going short there. Right there, New York Open, that would have been a really good short to go. And looking at 1 minute, it looks like we're just going to continue lower. I don't expect price to continue higher looking at the 1 minute time frame. But I'm not trading the 1 minute time frame. I'm trading the 15-minute time frame right now. So let's see if that next candle is not a bullish candle. I'm going to be pissed off. We've got this breaker as well, right here. We're tapping into the start of that resistance or support, whatever you want to call it, breaker support, and I want to see what price does at that level. That close above the New York session seems so insignificant now. I was so satisfied with it 15 minutes ago, and then 15 minutes later I'm disappointed in it. But I'm still waiting for the next candle. This is just an order block at the moment. If we see price come down and take out that low, it could potentially continue higher up, right? So yeah, I'm still not really shook. Prediction is still we're going to continue higher up. Would have been pretty stupid to not taking a target, taking a whole target off at 2-1 though. 22 pips, like come on, that's really good entry, really good. Honestly, a really good risk reward. Should be happy with that. Should be content with a 2R, but clearly I am unsatisfied. So yeah, just an order block at the moment. Ideally want to see that low being taken out and then push up. Honestly, at this point, I just want to exit this trade because I can't be asked to overanalyze it. So I'm going to leave it. I'm going to stop overanalyzing this trade because I'm getting tired. I'll come back if it hits targets, or if it hits, I'll come back once the 1 hour candle closes, and what we'll do after that we'll try to figure out. Until then, honestly, if this is a bullish engulfing candle on the 1 hour time frame, I'll be very happy. But time will tell. We'll see. So I've exited that trade. I was predicting price, or saw price close below this inverse fair value gap, and price tapped into that inverse bullish or bearish fair value gap, and for me that was enough sign to get out of the trade now. I've been on it for too long and rejected that New York Open, pushed lower, right? Another market structure shift, and now it looks like we're going to continue higher up, and look where it is on the higher time frame. It comes into that 60-minute fair value gap, which is where if it starts to find some support, and if this turns into a bullish engulfing candle, this is a bullish engulfing pattern like I was talking about earlier on, and that is not a good sign for me anyway after exiting the trade, because that's a sign that we might continue higher up. That's what it is. We'll see if this bearish inverse fair value gap is held or if price closes above that. I'm actually so pissed off with myself with this trade. I can't believe I exited the trade, or well, I exited one position up here at New York Open, and then I moved my stop to break even, or my stop had already been moved to break even, and then I exited my next trade around here. I'm so vexed. I could have let that at least come up and hit that retest. It's fine. It's what it is. At least I took half of my trade at New York Open, right? Had I traded 1% risk, that would have been 0.9%, but I was risking like 0.35%, very small amount, so that's fine. We've got CPI coming out tomorrow, so that's has been in the back of my mind all day, and don't it's not really allowing me to hold trades for too long. I know that, so that's fine. And again, great setup, a great entry. Caught essentially a bottom. I don't care whether I catch bottom or not, because it seems that I know my entries. It's just that I don't know my targets. I always seem to aim for too high or aim for too low, and sometimes I aim for too high and then pay for aiming for too high, and then sometimes I aim for too low and then it goes flying. just what it is. But regardless, it's a win, and it's a good trade to analyze for future as a good trade. I took another trade on dollar CAD in the morning, a counter trade. I lost around 0.15% on that trade because I exited that trade way too early, and I also entered that trade way too early. So let's just have a look at what I did. So my prediction is price is going to come up to this buy side liquidity at 1.3977. Right, going into the week, I'm bullish. Although we have come into this initial buy side liquidity and wicked above last week, and again this week we wicked above last week. But also remember, last week we came down and held a bullish fair value gap. So because of that, going into this week I was bullish. So as price came into these double tops, right, above these highs in the morning, I was looking for opportunities to go short. And like I say, what I trade is channels mainly when it's counter trading. And I had a 1 hour time frame channel right here with RSI diverging from here to here. And as price came into these highs, I saw price failing to close above this buy side liquidity, which on the 4 hour it closed above. A good sign. When price fails to close above on the lower time frames, but it's closed on the higher time frames, to me that's a sign that there's a mismatch in the prices. There's a discrepancy between the higher time frame and lower time frame, and that's something that could potentially be manipulated. So for me, after I saw that, we had this candle, bullish engulfing candle, that took our liquidity of the low and a high. And whenever I see those kind of candles around a potential point of interest, that to me signifies potential reversal is coming, or potential shorting opportunities or counter trade is coming. If that comes in a trend, though, it's a different story. So it's all about context. And then I see this pin bar. I'm not trading still, and I see this bullish engulfing candle. And to me, after seeing that, now I'm predicting, okay, we could potentially continue lower. Let me just go. After I see this candle, I'm thinking, okay, if we take out these highs now, we could potentially get a bearish engulfing candle and continue lower. So from now, I start looking for opportunities to go long. So we got this channel on the 60-minute coming into a pretty strong point of interest, right? It's a double level on the weekly time frame. It's 2 weeks on the weekly time frame. If you look at it, it's 1 to 2 weeks is high, so that's a pretty strong level. 15-minute, we do this. So nothing suggests we're going to continue lower. This bullish candle I see, that to me that's a very good sign that we could continue lower. And I entered a little bit too early. I entered around right after, as this candle was closing, and this was turning into a bearish candle. As price was moving lower, I entered somewhere around there. Had my stops at this 971, and honestly I wanted to target these lows. Let's see how it plays out, right? I was way too early. This, good sign to me. Now that's a good sign. If we find another bullish candle, that's where I should be entering, not there. And then I see this price moving down, and then as price came and moved and tapped here, I believe I exited the trade because there's no way I wanted to be in that trade. I think I was watching the 1 minute time frame as well, and that was, to me, was not a good thing to do. So at 5 minute we had accumulation as well. As I was watching this, right, this was accumulation I was watching. We already manipulated that at first right there, and then pushed lower. I wasn't looking to trade that level, don't worry. And also the timing, this is after London session, essentially when price likes to find pullbacks before New York open, and between 10, 11 and 12 o'clock and 1 o'clock UK time, we could potentially see some manipulation. And that's essentially what I was expecting price to do, manipulate down to these lows and find some support later on, which it does mid New York session, and where I go long. I was just watching the 1 minute time frame. Price came up, right? I entered here, and then this is what price action starts to do. And then after seeing these bearish candles on the 1 minute time frame, I was actually quite confident that we might, bearish injections coming in. And then this happened, and to me, after that, I could not hold anymore. I exited the trade at break even, or so I thought it was break even, but it was 0.1 5% loss. And after this high is made on the 5-minute time frame, or even 15-minute time frame, we get this doji candle that takes out the high, and then after that you'd expect price to continue higher. Yeah, I entered thinking this doji candle was an order block, and then I wanted to exit at the low of that order block. The next candle is a bearish candle, again bearish candle, and then it's just a continuation of bearish candle where price just tanks. 5-minute time frame, yeah, for me, because we've got this buy side liquidity up there, and I'm predicting price to go up there, and it's Tuesday, I don't really want to be trading anywhere around here. To me, I was predicting maybe price would just find support around here and then push up, but it tanked way too much than what I was expecting. But yeah, that was one of the main reasons I didn't want to enter around these levels, because I'm not really confident trading that counter trade during New York session on Tuesday in a bullish order flow. But yeah, again, early on, I was early, like the euro dollar trade that I took later on today, and then price drops, and then I exited too early, because when you sit for this much of drawdown, honestly, sometimes it just feels like I just want to get out of the trade as soon as it reaches my entry level, and that's the kind of mistakes I need to stop doing and focus on not making those kind of mistakes and waiting for at least one confirmation. Had this been like a bearish candle or an inside bar candle, and then highs of that candle was taken out, then I would feel comfortable taking that trade. But like here, we had a bullish run, and then this doji candle was a pretty good signal that price was going to continue holding, and then it does, and then just drops, which is beautiful. But I'm not, like I said, I'm not trading that level. And then I took a long somewhere around here, which I've done a video for. Well, you'll see the video first, that video first. So yeah, that's a good trade. That could have been, I'm not obviously not trading down to there, but even to New York level, New York open 2R. But yeah, good setup. Again, caught the top essentially, which doesn't really matter if I'm catching the top or not, if I'm not making any fucking money from it. So it's good to review it though in the future.